It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at U-Like, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ulike.com. U-Like. With Ease US, make studio-quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high-quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional-grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Just use AMP-Pace.
AMP-Pace.
What's up, everybody? It is the Pete Sousa Show, coming at you live from the Alico Building in Waco, Texas. I'm not Pete Sousa. I'm Scotty Swingler. Pete's on vacation this week. We'll tell you more about what's coming up later in the week, but we will hear from Pete today, so stick with us if you're here to hear from Pete. Pete's going to be on here in just a little bit with some replay interviews. We are brought to you by our good friends at Daniel Stark Injury Attorneys, Sikora Family Ford, Extraco Banks, and, of course, Slovaceks in West. I think Pete has converted me. I used to be a Czech stop guy. Not anymore. We're Slovaceks family at the Swingler's house now. That is how we roll here at the Pete Sousa Show. We are all about Slovaceks. By the way, I was thinking about this as that countdown was running. I've never quite settled into my opening words as a host of a show. So like all these famous hosts, I feel like have the same intro every time. So I think of like Doug Gottlieb for years would say, "Boom, what up, America?" And that's annoying as heck, but like that was his thing, right? Colin Cowherd for a long time ago, it is the herd. You know, like everybody's got their little bit. I just kind of say, "What's up, everybody?" I think I could do better. If you have any ideas for what my Scotty intro should be every show, you should submit it to me, and I can use it on Please Bear With Me and when I host Pete's show and everything else. That's besides the point. Already got a comment from my friend Bear the Truth. What is Truth Barbecue? Great shirt. Oh, Bear the Truth. I'm so glad you asked, because today we are going to have an NBA draft special. But before we do that, it felt appropriate, if I was going to host the show this week, that we needed to talk about something that is not quite sports related, but maybe sports adjacent. You can compete at this. This goes along well with watching sports or hanging with your buddies, and that's Texas barbecue. Last week, Texas Monthly put out their top 50 barbecue joints in the state of Texas, their list for 2025. If you did not know, if you're not from Texas, a lot of our viewers not from Texas, stay with me. You need to know this in case you ever come visit. This way, there you go. This list right here is the Bible for where you can find good barbecue in Texas. I don't say that to be sacrilegious. I say that because it is the authority, is my point. It is the authority on where you go to get the best barbecue in the state of Texas. It comes out every 4 years. Every 4 years. So the last one came out in 21, and last week, towards the end of the week, we got the reveal of the 2025 Texas Monthly Top 50 barbecue joints in the state of Texas. Happy to say that our very own here in Waco, Hellberg Barbecue, made the top 50 for the second list in a row. It's quite the feat for our friends at Hellberg. The way that the list works is they decide who qualifies as a top 50 barbecue joint, and then they rank the top 10. So they do not rank 1 through 50, but they rank 1 through 10, and then the 40 others are just recognized as part of this elite group of top 50. If you are unfamiliar or you haven't been to the state of Texas, let me just give you a quick overview of what this is like here. Barbecue is our contribution to world cuisine in Texas. And in particular, in 2009, when Franklin opened up in Austin, it started what is known as the barbecue renaissance in Texas. And barbecue went from being something, I'll be honest, when I was a kid, you could go get barbecue places, but oftentimes it was I wouldn't say it was like a great food item. Like I wouldn't say it was prime time, A+ cuisine. It wasn't fine dining by any means. It still isn't. But what happened when Franklin opened and had lines down the block every Saturday where you had to get there at 4 or 5 a.m. to get brisket because it was that good. Snow's in Lexington was the other place that very early on in this renaissance, you were lining up at 4 a.m. on a Saturday, otherwise you may not get brisket. When that happened, it triggered a renaissance where over the last 15 years, barbecue in Texas has gone from being a couple people's pastime and like just any old slow-cooked meat to being an art form. It's become high-class cuisine, and I don't say that subjectively because Michelin came to Texas for the first time last year to award Michelin stars and 4 Texas barbecue restaurants. And if you've ever walked in one of these places, it's not fine dining. You can walk in like this. It's not world-renowned chefs, right? But 4 Texas barbecue restaurants got Michelin stars, and dozens more got Bib Gourmand awards because it is on that level of being some of the best food in the world. Now, the reason I'm talking about this today, the top 50 came out last week. Very significant for those of us in Texas. If you ever visit the state of Texas, if you're not from, if you come down for a college football game, you come for a vacation with your family, or you move here, a lot of people moving to Texas, you need to know this list because your first place to look if you're hunting for good barbecue is this list. Let me show you the top 10. Let's honor these places. Here was the 2025 top 10. I want to thank a guy named David Douglas had this graphic on Instagram, so I didn't have to make this graphic. The top 10 barbecue joints in the state of Texas. Burnt Bean Co. in Seguin. It was number 4 years ago. Elevates to the number 1 spot. What an honor. Leroy and Lewis, if you've ever seen me wearing that maroon-colored hat that I wear on this show sometimes, that is my Leroy and Lewis hat. I went there a couple months ago. Got number 2. Goldie's in Fort Worth was number 3. It was number 1 4 years ago, so Goldie's is by far and away, I think, your best option in DFW. Redbird, a new contender, newer place, number 4. A lot of folks had that as a dark horse to get number 1. GW's Interstellar, which was number 2 4 years ago, so also an excellent choice. Dane's Craft Barbecue, Lavaca Barbecue, Truth Barbecue in Houston makes the top 10 for the 3rd list in a row or the 12th year in a row. It was number 3 on the last list in 21. It's number 9. And then Evie Mays, that is Fran Fraschella's favorite barbecue place there, Evie Mays. College basketball analyst Fran Fraschilla, he's been on the show. That's his favorite. He was shocked it was number 10. He said, I don't know how you could have 9 places better. But if you go to any of these 10 places, you are going to get some of the best culinary experiences of your life. And again, that is not subjective. That is objective. Leroy and Lewis, by the way, is one of those on here that got a Michelin star, as well as Interstellar. I think Interstellar got a Michelin star as well. Really, really awesome. But what I wanted to do to start the show today, and then we'll get to some stuff with Pete, is I wanted to give you my rules to live by. If you're going to come to Texas and try barbecue, these are the rules to live by. If you live by these rules, you'll be safe. The best thing to do is to look at the top 50, and if you're anywhere close to a top 50 joint, go there. By the way, when Franklin launched in 2009, you made the top 50 if you had excellent brisket. Now, creating excellent brisket has just become standard practice. And it's not just, I forgot, I meant to show this a second ago. It's not just standard practice for the pros and the restaurants. Like, this is one of my hobbies as well. I know Brian, Bear the Truth, our friend who just chimed in a second ago, barbecues as well. This is something a lot of people are learning how to do at an excellent level. So creating excellent brisket is no longer the standard to get on the Texas Monthly Top 50. In fact, Daniel Vaughn, the barbecue editor, said, excellent brisket is the prerequisite. If you don't have excellent brisket, you're just not on the list. So if you just want excellent brisket, that top 50 list is good. But if you're more of a turkey, sausage, pork, ribs, that's more your speed, and you visit Texas and you're like, where should I go? That top 50 list is pretty educational. It will help you. But here are 4 rules to live by. And either you're someone living in Texas and you haven't been living by these rules and you've been disappointed when you go try a barbecue place, or you're going to visit Texas, and if you don't follow these rules, you could walk into some plain old barbecue establishment that's making crap food and say, what's the hype about? You have to follow these rules. So here we go. These are the Texas barbecue rules to live by according to me, Pitmaster, Scotty Swingler, amateur Pitmaster nonetheless. By the way, those wings on the left, I won an award for those. So, shout out to me, I guess. Sorry, that sounded so stupid. Okay, here's the field guide. Here's the rules to live by. If you can follow these 4 rules in Texas, you will find good barbecue. Number 1, so important. If you can't find the pits, find another restaurant. This is like a no-brainer, but you'd be shocked by how many restaurants, I'm not even going to call them barbecue joints, restaurants open up under the guise of barbecue, but you can't find smoke. And you can't find fire. You might find some slow-cooked meat, but it's not going to have flavor. It's not going to have bark. You're going to struggle to get the experience. Texas barbecue, at its most fundamental, is beef-oriented. It is smoke-forward. It is salt and pepper, and it is cooked over next to an open fire or in a barbecue pit, right? If you're missing those elements, you're missing the experience. So, rule number 1, if there's a barbecue place and you walk up and you're on the exterior and you can't find where the pits are, they might be inside. Hellberg just opened up their new location here in Waco. They've got their pits indoors next to the restaurant. So you may not see it initially, but you can very easily then see the windows and see where the pits are. Truth Barbecue in Houston, same way. The pits are inside, but there's 4 massive 1,000-gallon pits with open fire going, creating that smoke flavor. If you can't find the pits, it's not barbecue. It might be slow-cooked meat. It might be roast beef. Some of it might taste okay, but it's not Texas barbecue. You got to be able to find the pits. You got to find the pits. If you can't find the pits, find another restaurant. It's not barbecue if you can't see where they're cooking it and where they're getting the smoke from. Rule number 2, if it's known for its sides, it's not known for its barbecue. I cannot tell you how many people want to recommend a new barbecue place to me, and the first thing they say is, the beans are really good, or they have the best potato salad I've ever had, or, oh my gosh, you would not believe their smoked Brussels sprouts. Listen, I can eat up some smoked Brussels sprouts. I've made them. I've eaten them. Truth Barbecue makes them great. Nothing wrong with that. But if the first praise for a barbecue place on Google reviews or from a friend is for the sides, beware. That's a problem. If the first celebration for or praise of a barbecue place is not the actual barbecue, it's not the meat, it's not the brisket and the ribs and the sausage, or maybe, Leroy and Lewis does beef cheek. They do whole smoked beef cheek. It's excellent. If that's not what people are bragging about, it's not barbecue. Now, one of the trends in barbecue for the last 5 years or so has been fusion, where places are going to make Tex-Mex barbecue or Asian infusion barbecue. That's great because the places that do that well, the barbecue is still the star of the show. You can make awesome bao with good brisket. You can make crazy good fajitas on a smoker. Like, that is still barbecue because we're still talking about protein. If a place is known for its sides, though, the corn, the potatoes, the beans, the banana pudding, I like all those things, but if that's what a place is known for, that's a warning sign. It's probably not known for its barbecue. Rule number 3, if it needs sauce, it needs a new pitmaster. This is what separates Texas barbecue from Kansas City barbecue, from a lot of Eastern barbecue that is, I've really enjoyed, I've visited Asheville, North Carolina a couple times and visited a place called 12 Bones there. Really enjoyed it. It's different than Texas barbecue. I prefer Texas barbecue, but part of what they do is they will make these racks of ribs, and they have 4 different glazes they put on these ribs. One of them is like a blueberry chipotle glaze on some ribs. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. That's not Texas barbecue, though. Texas barbecue, if I can repeat myself a little bit, is smoke forward. Usually, most important protein is the beef, but we can do pork, right? But smoke forward, salt and pepper. And what's incredible about good barbecue is if you have done that process correctly. I've done it at home. It's not difficult. It just takes discipline. If you do that process correctly and you have good smoke and you have ample salt and pepper that creates a good crusty bark, you don't need sauce. You actually don't. The barbecue will have ample flavor on its own. The meat, if it's cooked properly, will almost melt and dissolve in your mouth. It's not going to be rubbery or overly chewy or dry. And you don't need sauce. If you need sauce, it's usually because the meat's dry, which means it wasn't cooked properly. The meat has no flavor, which means it wasn't cooked properly. Or maybe you just prefer barbecue sauce, and that's okay. That's okay. If you prefer barbecue sauce, that's cool. But if it needs the sauce, if you take a bite of brisket, a bite of pulled pork, whatever your preference, and it's like, I need to put sauce on that to eat it, you need a new pitmaster. So now, if you get to step 3, and you discover a place that needs sauce, it might be too late. You might have paid for some bad barbecue. But if it needs sauce, it needs a new pitmaster. That's a rule to live by. Find the places where you can eat the meat by itself and it doesn't need help. And then if you like sauce, that's cool. And then rule 4, if there's a line, it's a good sign. It's not foolproof. I've seen lines at mediocre barbecue places. But often, if there's a line, especially if there's a line before the place opens, like before they've even opened their doors, you're probably in good shape. You're probably at a place that has food worth eating. If there's not a line, I would ask some questions. Because the reality is there's enough people who like barbecue, especially in more urban areas, cities. There's enough people that like barbecue, they'll line up to get the good stuff. In Houston, if you line up at Truth, you need to get there. They open at 11. You need to get there by 10:15, 10:30 to have your pick of what you want to eat. They might risk running out of things if you get there 15 minutes after they open. Again, at Franklin, Snow's, Leroy and Lewis is getting this way. Some of these like iconic places, Goldie's, you got to get there hours before they open to stand in line, or you may not get the food you want. That is a turnoff for some people, but I'm telling you, if you come visit Texas, if you're not experienced in this form of cuisine, it is worth it to stand in line for those kind of places, because that culinary experience is going to rival anything else you can have in the world. I am wearing my Truth Barbecue shirt here today because it is the best culinary experience I've had in the world. I have eaten at Michelin star restaurants. I have eaten, what's the other award chefs get? I'm forgetting. The James Beard. I've eaten at restaurants, not many, I'm not wealthy, but I've eaten at a handful of restaurants where James Beard award-winning chefs are serving kind of high-dollar food. Truth Barbecue is something I'd rather eat than any of that. Franklin brisket specifically is something I'd rather eat than any of that. Leroy and Lewis is probably about on that level as well. So that's my pitch today. I know we went off the typical sports track, but these are the rules to live by. One more time, just to keep everyone informed. If you can't find the pit, find another restaurant. If it's known for its sides, it's not known for its barbecue. That's a warning sign. That's a red flag. If it needs sauce, it just needs a new pit master, because the appropriately cooked Texas barbecue doesn't need the sauce to be edible. And if there's a line, it's a good sign. Those are Scotty's barbecue rules to live by, and that is my Texas barbecue field guide. I hope it's helpful. Let's check in on some of these comments. Bear the Truth's been commenting along this whole time. Let's see. He asked for my thoughts on, okay, blacks. Do you mean blacks or Terry Blacks? So there's some of your Texas legend right there, right? Blacks opened in Lockhart many decades ago. It is a staple, iconic place. I think it's very good. It didn't make the top 50. I think it's very good. Terry Blacks is in the top 50. They've become a chain. That's part of the family that broke away from the Blacks establishment. They did open a Terry Blacks here in Waco. It's not good. It's okay. No, it is good. It's okay. It's not as good as the original location in Austin, and it's not as good as the location in Dallas. If you go to Terry Black's in Austin or Dallas, you're going to get really quality stuff. The one in Waco, I think, is subpar. If you're in Waco, you need to go to Hellberg. They made the top 50. Those are my guys, Philip and his family over there at Hellberg. You need to go see them. If you're in Houston, I'm telling you, Truth. That's the move. Get there at 10:30. You'll be good. Ooh, and Bear the Truth gave another tip here. Best competition is the Fort Bend County Fair Championship. I've heard that. I used to live in Fort Bend County, and I never made it to that championship. But I have heard that before, Bear the Truth. Maybe you and I need a road trip down there that weekend together when we get there. By the way, Bear the Truth, I think Pete and I are coming up for an FC Dallas game soon. We all got to hang. So, all right. Hey, thanks for letting me go off on a random topic there. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to hear a little bit from Pete Sousa. We've had several conversations over the last couple months about the upcoming NBA draft. Obviously, there's some interest in here in Waco, VJ Edgecombe, considered a pretty safe top 5 pick, maybe as high as number 2 to the Spurs, likely number 4 to the Hornets. There's some interest. We have a large base of BYU fans who watch our show. Igor Denham in the draft. Where is he going to go? Could he be a lottery pick? Is he going to slip to late in the first round? And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little NBA draft, and that's going to be our show for today. A couple notes. I will be hosting the show start to finish tomorrow and Thursday. Tomorrow, we're going to do some NFL, NBA topics. Thursday, we're going to talk a lot of college football. That's kind of my wheelhouse. So stick around this week as Pete's on vacation, and we keep rolling here at the Alico building on the Pete Sousa Show. We're going to take a break, come back with our NBA draft special. This is the Pete Sousa Show on the Rogue Sports Network.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at GlobalHealing.com and OrganicHemp.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mullybox, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. At Tusane's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com. BizChair.com. Your one-stop shop for premium commercial furniture that blends quality with affordability. From ergonomic office chairs to durable restaurant seating, we cater to diverse industries including corporate, medical, hospitality, and education. With over 20 years of experience, we offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high-traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at BizChair.com to transform your business. At Mitzi, we believe the right light can transform any space. Born from a third-generation lighting family, we craft beautifully designed, premium lighting that's made to be affordable. Inspired by Grandma Mitzi's eclectic style, we're on a mission to make high-quality lighting accessible to all. Whether you're updating your space or adding a unique fixture, Mitzi has the perfect design for you. Beautiful, well-made lighting without the high price tag. Discover your perfect light at Mitzi.com. That's MITZI.com. Mitzi. Founded in 1910, Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Made to the highest standards, our products won't let you down. We give you the confidence to get out there and explore. Inspired by the past, devoted to the present, and built generational future, Samsonite is here to elevate your journey. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. The grinder mentality that Randy and Brent Habert built into 44 Pro runs deep within our team. Every member shares a passion for the craft, the game, and most importantly, the player. When you step onto the field with a 44 Pro custom glove, you'll feel the difference. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro. Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, we've got your team's colors running through our veins. From official replica kits to custom player prints of your favorite stars like Ronaldo, Messi, and Kane, Kitbag is your one-stop shop for all things football. Powered by Fanatics, we deliver to over 180 countries, ensuring you get the gear you need fast. For true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com. Kit Bag.
Welcome back, Pete Sousa Show, live and alive from the Alico building. My name's Scotty Swinglers, filling in for Pete this week, who's on vacation. Want to wish him and Christy well. Love those guys. Hope they're doing well. Pete will be back next week. This week, the plan, again, I will host a full show tomorrow. We'll look at some NFL topics, talk a little NBA Finals before Game 1 tips off tomorrow night. And then Thursday, I'm giving all day to college football. I have to do it. It's the sport I am probably most informed in keeping up with. There's been a lot of discussion lately about college football playoff changes, format, a lot of debate, a lot of very passionate, loud voices, including Brett Yormark, commissioner of the Big 12, and others. So if you're one of our usual viewers, BYU fans, Baylor fans, Big 12 fans, that Thursday will be a great show for us to engage as we are, 3 months, 2.5 months out from kickoff and college football being back. Cannot wait. For the rest of today, we're going to talk NBA draft. We have talked to some really excellent experts in the last couple months getting ready for this year's NBA draft, which comes up at the end of this month. And so I want to give you a few clips here from the Pete Sousa Show where Pete has asked some of our guests about the NBA draft. Again, there is a lot of VJ Edgecombe talk. There is some BYU talk because that is a large part of our viewer base. But especially this final interview that we had last week with Matt Babcock covers the whole gamut. The NBA draft, it's everything you need to know and should know. So that's going to do it for me today. I'm going to throw it to Pete with these interviews, some NBA draft special, and I'll be back with you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing. We're growing quickly, and we would love for you to be part of the family. Appreciate it, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Edgecombe, a Baylor product, right, who's now going to the NBA. I just saw him recently on an ESPN mock or CBS mock that had him going 3 to Charlotte. Kind of early, right? Yeah. But it's, we haven't done the lottery yet, but he's top 3 right now. Where do you see a guy like him fitting in the NBA?
Two-way guy. A guy who's got great they love his athleticism as I do. I moved him to number 3 in the class. You talk about number 3. I don't think he's number 3 in this draft. I have him more at 4, possibly 5. He doesn't have a skill that translates just yet. And his motor, which was sensational in high school, but it was off and on at Baylor. I mean, it was good, but they're looking for Tunde type motor in the NBA, right? That's how you separate yourself. So they'd like to see a little bit more motor from him. But when I saw him in high school, the 3-point shot really came along. His drive game is a straight line drive, right? He can switch 1, 2, and 3. He's an NBA athlete. He's going to elevate a franchise, and he is a phenomenal, not good, phenomenal young man. And you talk about humble. Tunde, Yesufu, very humble. Same thing with VJ Edgecombe. These guys know where they came from, and they know what they want. They know how to get there, and they understand humility as part of the process. I see him somewhere 3 to 5, possibly. I'm in Charlotte, Pete. I'd love for him to come here, but I see in the draft, I see Cooper as 1 as of today. It's a 50-50 split between Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper for 2. I think the other guy will be 3, and then I think you got VJ Edgecombe right there at 4, and the Texas man, Trey Johnson,
he's awesome.
5. I mean, those are the top 5, in my opinion, and also, more importantly, in the NBA scouts and GMs that I've spoken with. The order, could be any one of those 2, but the draft starts at 2.
All right, Igor Demon, out of BYU into the NBA. We talked about Kevin Young and his development. How do you see him sort of mixing into the NBA, and where do you see him going in the draft?
I'm going to make a pitch right now for him to go back to BYU. Go back and play with AJ DiBonsa. And then you'll up your stock and you have a chance to win a national championship, but that's not going to happen. Great passer, great size, vision, everything. Physical toughness is a question, but that comes over the course of time. And I love the way he moves the ball, passes the ball, gets his team in offense, runs the transition game very well. Like the throw-ahead pass is there by Igor. The jump shot is not. And that's true for a lot of these guys because they're so talented. They just don't spend enough time, game reps, shooting jump shots. They get in the gym and shoot, but shooting is like putting in golf. I mean, you've got to spend 10,000 hours to master a jump shot, and you still don't know if it's going in. So that's his deficiency, but his upside is the size, the passing, the vision, and the ability to move the ball. And that's a big thing in the NBA. You may not get the assist, but can you move the ball? Can you get that hockey assist? That's important. He has the vision and the willingness to do that. I see him right outside the lottery, right about 14, 15, 16.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
A lot of money in those spots.
Money's not bad. All right, last one.
Maybe more money at BYU, though, if you go back.
I'm really excited to see, the draft is coming up. I want to have you back on again right before that to really have you handicap it. But, taking a bird's eye view from 30,000 feet, I'm sure on draft night you will be in Bristol at ESPN. So I'll have to get you before then. But this is when you kind of hunker down and get your prep going. When you look at the top 5, where do you see VJ Edgecombe fitting in there? Do you think he could go 3 or 4? Because I know the Sixers might like him too. I know Charlotte likes him. What's your insight there?
For me, I'm taking VJ number 3. And then the number 1 pick, is obviously locked up when you look at Cooper Flag. The number 2 pick, if I'm the Spurs, I'm trading that because there's really nobody in that number 2 spot that would be an immediate fit. You could try to fit Dylan Harper in there. You could try to put VJ in there. But I'm trading that pick, going to get somebody like Giannis, going to get something, right, that can aid alongside of De'Aaron Fox and Wemby and Stephon Castle. So number 2 pick, I'm probably trading it, but let's say they don't trade it. You have to go with Dylan Harper at 6'5", his ability to be able to drive the lane and create and score the ball at ease. Winning is a little bit of concern for me. I'm huge on winning. If you don't really win, I don't necessarily know if that translates, but he was on a bad team, but he carried that team. I'm not taking Ace Bailey at number 3. Don't hate me, people, but I'm not taking Ace Bailey at number 3. I'm not. Just because we talk about this winning concern. You took a lot of bad shots for the team. You really weren't efficient. You have the upside. I could be wrong, right? He might go on a team and just be the next Kevin Durant. I could be wrong. However, based off what I've seen, the body of work, I'm not taking you at number 3. I'm definitely taking VJ over Ace Bailey at number 3 because VJ showed his flashes that he cared about defense. He showed that he can knock down a 3-pointer consistently. His athleticism is through the roof. He showed that he cared. And even though Bailey didn't have the greatest season, he showed to me that he cared more than a guy like Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey, is he more talented than VJ Edgecombe? Sure, we can say that at 6'9", 6'10". But to me, winning, caring, just the ability to be able to go out there and compete at the highest level every single night and give your 100% effort, that means something to me. So VJ Edgecombe, to me, would go number 3 over Ace Bailey. And then after that, number 5, I love Jeremiah Fears. So you can go there. But let me ask you real quick, what about Demon? He had a great week in Chicago. He did have a great week. And for me, it's all about if he can knock down a 3 consistently. You got to be able to shoot at that point guard spot. His playmaking is elite. I think he will be better serviced in the NBA than he was in college just because of the spacing. The spacing is way different. There's a lot more spacing in the NBA. However, if you cannot shoot the 3 or at least be respectable from that distance, it can be tough, especially when you're dealing with better defenders, longer defenders. And last year, the one area where I thought he struggled at times was scoring the basketball, specifically from behind the arc. So I think that if he can knock down a 3 consistently, which his shot does look good, form is there, rotation is good, he gets at a good set point, I think he has the potential to be a really good shooter. I think it's more so confidence for him because I think a lot of times his struggles, his misses, was from a lack of confidence. But I think if he can perfect that, he's definitely top 10 in my eyes. Definitely top 10. Last question for you. Should coaches in the NBA and college go back to wearing suits or at least business casual? No? Dude, but no. I'm looking at Chris Finch last night. It looks like a guy that got lost on the way to LA Fitness, man. Listen, man, no, because we're in the sport of entertainment. This is basketball. I'm big on, we always talk about players being able to express themselves with the way that they dress and the freedom to be able to express yourself. So if a coach is more comfortable in, I don't know, a polo and some, let's not get it twisted. You can't pull up there just in anything, Pete, right? But if you're in a polo and some khakis with some shoes on, nothing wrong with that. Express yourself. Whatever you are comfortable in, be comfortable. People try to get on to me about this all the time because I don't wear suits and ties.
You always look good. I don't care. Like, but you have an elite fashion level that literally you display every time. So it's like you can pull it off because you always look like real fresh. Like some of these guys, they look terrible. And I think that the jumpsuits or running suits are worse. They don't even have to stay in shape anymore because their suits aren't fitted. So all these guys are getting fat as hell too. That's my theory. All right, King McClure, you can catch him next year on ESPN all the time. You can catch him on ESPN for the draft. Of course, he's got a show on the Rogue Media Network.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Our research-backed bioavailable formulas are crafted with your health in mind, ensuring the highest quality and safety. From preconception to pregnancy and beyond, we exceed industry standards with independent testing for harmful contaminants. With our comprehensive practitioner directory, personalized care is always within reach. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at fullwellfertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. We use the finest materials like Italian top-grain leather, known for its durability and luxurious feel, and apply meticulous attention to detail in every piece we create. Our replicas are crafted with the same care and precision as the originals, but at a price that makes them accessible. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. Using advanced tech fabrics that are 100% waterproof, UV tear, and abrasion resistant, we ensure lasting durability with hand-sewn double-stitch seams. Our commitment to quality, precision engineering, and customizable options is unmatched. With vertically integrated operations and express shipping, we deliver premier protection at affordable prices. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels, our rebounders improve accuracy, control, and technique in both sports. Built with premium materials for durability and ease of use, they're ideal for training anywhere, anytime. Whether you're perfecting your soccer game or sharpening your lacrosse skills, Open Goal USA has you covered. Visit OpenGoalUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
Introducing Muck Off's classic Pink Bike Cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
There he is, NBA draft analyst Matt Babcock with Babcock Hoops. What's happening, brother?
No, not too much, Pete. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Thank you so much for taking the time on this Friday morning. You just got back from a nice family vacay. You're all tan and settled in. I appreciate it, man.
No, absolutely. Yeah, last week of May, and my kids are off school, so you got a quick trip in before June, and it's my time to shine, Pete.
This is your time to shine. I know you were in Chicago for pre-draft, and there's a lot of talk now. You know, we're just about 3 weeks away, a little over 3 weeks away from the draft. You know, here in Central Texas, obviously, VJ Edgecombe is a guy who we're keeping our eye on. We've seen him as high as 3, as low as 4 or 5. What are you hearing about his progress up draft boards since the season has ended through Chicago as to where we are right now?
Yeah, he's definitely in a great place, and he's well thought of. I mean, I think across the board, just speaking to NBA scouts, whether it's with teams that are in that range or not, he's a hot commodity. I think just, having watched him throughout the year, there's no denying he's an elite athlete, which is just something you can't teach. And he's got a tool, a tool set, you can't teach as well. He's got a high motor. I think his shooting mechanics are there. He's got the upside of being a very dynamic guard. I mean, whether you pencil him in as a shooting guard or a point guard, he's a guy with the ball in his hands, can make stuff happen, and he's just scratching the surface, I think, of what he's going to become. So I think he's earned his spot of being one of these top picks.
So, you're a former agent, high-profile agent. You're a Babcock. You got basketball in your DNA. How do you help a guy like VJ, if you were his representation? How can you improve his draft standing headed up to June 25th? Is it interview stuff? Is it workout stuff? How do you massage that situation?
Yeah, the way I look at it, I mean, in my role now as an NBA draft analyst and scout, I mean, I spend, pretty much the entire year researching these kids, oftentimes, scouting them, evaluating them for 3-4 years, pretty similarly to how these NBA teams do. And so the NBA pre-draft process, the way I look at it is the final 10% of the evaluation. And it's really, going through things with a fine comb, background, personality, they get medical information. I think the on-court stuff, yeah, there's, you're still evaluating these guys and one-on-one workouts and, watching them shoot the ball and whatnot. It's more of the off-court stuff, I think, that's sort of rounding it out. And so as an agent, I think you're kind of getting a grip of who your client is, where they come from, and just kind of polishing things up. I mean, preparing them for all these interviews and team visits. Obviously, the medical stuff, I mean, I don't think there's much you can do there. But really just trying to control what you can just with that final 10% being gathered by these teams.
Well, one of the guys who, of course, there's interest in because it's Big 12 country is Igor Demin. And he has, at least from what I've seen, sort of fallen a little bit. When he decided to come out in early April, he was a lottery guy. And now I'm looking at some of the mocks, which, what do they mean? Who knows? But I see him around 17, 18. What has happened to him since the season has ended as far as, his climb up or down draft boards?
Yeah, Yegor's situation has been very interesting. I mean, pretty much from the start of the season. I think their first few games, in November, he really skyrocketed. I was a part of that narrative as well. I was at their opening night game in Provo, and he kind of just blew everybody away as a 6'9" point guard. I felt like we were watching this, 18-year-old Russian Magic Johnson. I mean, it was unbelievable, and I think we all kind of jumped the gun a little bit, and we all put him top 5, or at least most of us did. And then he got hurt, and he struggled throughout the year a little bit, and then finished strong. So it's been very much a roller coaster in regards to his draft stock and sort of media attention and whatnot. I do think he's trending up, and so it was one of those things like he was sky high, and then he kind of bottomed out mid-season. Where I mean, some of us were even thinking he might go back to BYU to play with AJ Devanza, their stud recruit coming in, and just I think as I mentioned, this last 10%. Everything is positive, and so I'm expecting him to be a lottery pick. Still trying to pinpoint exactly where, just like everybody else is, but he's definitely on the rise after sliding back, throughout the season.
The landscape has changed. Nobody knows it better than you, with your personnel experience, basketball experience, and now as an agent. A guy like Yegor Demon, he would play for Real Madrid all the way up until the draft, right? And you guys would have to go overseas to see him and stuff. But now I guess there's enough money in college hoops, right, where you can get him over to America. How does BYU, for the fans who don't know, get a guy like from Real Madrid to come to America to play basketball here before he gets drafted?
Well, I mean, I can give you millions of reasons of why. And so, no, what it comes down to with NIL, it really comes down to the financial considerations. And we are seeing a major shift with guys like Yegor Demon. Another name for you would be Kasparis Yakachionis from Illinois. Same type situation. Was playing in Europe and came over to get the exposure and make more money than he would have if he had stayed in Europe. And so I do think we are going to see more guys like this, like Luka Doncic, for example. In years past, a guy like that stays with Real Madrid. I think they're going to be coming over, which is going to dramatically change the scouting landscape. But there are some guys that are still carried over on the traditional way of doing things, and some of them missed the draft combine because they're still with their teams. Hugo Gonzalez playing in Spain, Jon Berenger in Slovenia. These guys have a chance to be first-round picks, and they haven't been a part of the pre-draft process so far. But anyway, I do think in coming years that will change.
So you're telling me that like Luka Doncic would have gone to like Kentucky nowadays, maybe?
I think so.
Wow, that's so interesting. As far as what BYU is doing, with AJ Devanza, right? Like this power surge, right? Is this something? And I've called games in Provo. You've been there many times scouting players. Is this something that BYU can sustain in your experience?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they have a lot of financial resources, and with that, it's not just paying these guys to play, not to pay for play entirely. They've got great resources. They've got an NBA qualified coach in Kevin Young, and so the combination of the fan support, the financial resources, and just the staff they've put together. With Kevin Young and then just his support staff as well. It's a great place to go make money, to develop and get exposure. I mean, they're playing in the Big 12. I think they're going to be probably one of the better teams in the country next year. So I don't see there being any reason why it can't be sustainable.
Do you think we're going to see more of that? Like we saw Alex Jensen go to Utah, right? Kevin Young, a young NBA assistant going over to these colleges, and their impact is immediate, especially in Kevin Young's case. Is that the trend?
I think so, on some level or another, and I think one thing is changing and evolving, day by day, is how these staffs are being put together and sort of the priorities and the needs of these staffs. In years past, the assistant coaches a lot of them were essentially recruiters, and so what's happening now, a lot of these big programs are building these mini NBA type front offices that are kind of taking some of those responsibilities off the coaches' plates, which is now allowing these head coaches to build out their staff with basketball coaches rather than recruiters. And so I think having guys with professional experience for development, being a little more tactical with the X's and O's, I do think that's where things are going.
I want to talk to you a little bit more about the philosophical approach and the changes, and then we'll get back to the personnel. 10 years ago, a guy like Todd, right, who had a pretty good camp in Chicago, right? I heard you talk about that. But he goes back to Auburn. Like, would a guy like that 10 years ago have stuck it out in the draft? And I guess that's the first part of the question. The second part, how is this impacting the talent pool for the NBA draft when a guy like that can go back to college and make maybe $3, $4, $5 million? So it's probably a good move for him. And he's not chasing that second contract already.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think these are great questions and really things that we're all talking about all the time right now. Just, it's a dramatic shift and so many different layers of it. And so with Todd Pettiford specifically, I was already really high on him. I saw him early in the year at Auburn, and they had him in a pretty limited role, but you saw the talent, the athleticism, how dynamic he was. And then at the combine, he played in the 5-on-5, which not all the prospects do, and he was the best talent. And I think he had played himself into being a first-round pick. But there's a difference between being projected as a probable first-round pick and actually being a first-round pick where you get 2 years guaranteed in your contract. Because second-round picks, the contracts are fully negotiable, which means that they could sign a two-way contract, which is very team-friendly. I can get more complicated about it, but long story short, I'm assuming he's going back to Auburn, probably making $2 or $3 million a year next year. And he kind of takes that risk off his plate and goes and he gets the big stage. He's going to be in a bigger role next year where he's probably going to have a chance to play himself and be an All-American and being a surefire first-round pick with a really nice nest egg of money, which just kind of, again, eliminates a lot of risk.
Yeah, can you describe the difference, being an agent from that last pick of the first round to being the first pick of the second, like the financial structure of that? I mean, is it dramatic?
It really just depends. I mean, I think there's upside as well. I remember when I was an agent, I had a player that was exactly in this range, Jordan Mickey from LSU, and he was being considered as a first-round pick or a projected first-round pick, and we wanted him to be. His dad wanted him to be. And Boston had they had 2 first-round picks and an early second, and we thought we were going to have him at one of the first round picks. He slips to the second round. But we ended up negotiating a big contract for him. It was actually the largest deal in second-round pick history for the NBA at that time. And so in that case, it benefited us. But there was risk. I mean, I think right below them was Philadelphia, which we didn't want to negotiate with Daryl Morey. He had done some contracts with guys where it was pretty cutthroat and not the outcome was not what we wanted. But it worked out for us that time. But again, there's a risk. And so there is a big difference between getting that guaranteed first round deal without really negotiating it and then having to go to the negotiating table where there's always big question marks.
Talking to NBA draft analyst Matt Babcock. Babcock Hoops is where you go to get all the good intel. This is a great convo. Let's head back to the top of the draft. Cooper Flagg at 1, possibly Dylan Harper at 2, but let's go back to Flagg. Is that a done deal? And if it is a done deal, how do you think that impacts the Mavs on the floor immediately?
Yeah, I think it's a done deal. I mean, I think we will all be shocked at this point if Cooper Flagg's not the first pick to Dallas. I don't even think it's being shocked. Cooper had such a great year. I mean, he exceeded my expectations, which my expectations were high. And this is a kid that was supposed to be a senior in high school this past year and reclassified up and, really carried Duke. I mean, this is an 18-year-old kid that's already doing some really great things, and I think he's poised to make an impact day one, and he's just scratching the surface. I mean, he's a teenager, and so I think that this is something that will impact Dallas next year. But I mean, fast forward 5 years from now, I mean, I think this is a guy that could be the face of a franchise.
Well, so when you go to 2 for the Spurs, are they looking to trade that pick? Like, what are you hearing around the possibility of them moving that pick or who they're going to take?
I mean, San Antonio is known for keeping things tight. I don't have any great insider information. My assumption, and I think a lot of people are in their assumption, is they're probably having conversations. I mean, they're they're at an interesting turning point in their franchise where you got Victor Wembanyama. I mean, I think every conversation internally needs to start with Victor. And are they trying to win now while they're developing? Or are they going to stay in rebuild mode? It's interesting team to kind of keep a pulse on. And then with Dylan, I think he is penciled in as the number 2 guy, regardless of who's picking. He's not a seamless fit there. They just traded for De'Aaron Fox, who's a point guard. Stephon Castle, the rookie of the year, is also an on-ball guy that's not really a perimeter shooter. At least that's not his strong suit. Dylan's not a seamless fit. And so you take the best player available. Are you looking to tweak your roster? I don't know. We're all keeping a pulse. I'm not overly confident in what San Antonio is going to do, but I am expecting to hear Dylan's name as the second pick, whether it's there or him being on the move.
All right, a couple more for you. What do the Sixers do? That franchise is just I'm a Philly guy. All right, there's some frustration there. We'll just leave it at that. We're at a crossroads here. What do they do with that pick? What are your feelings, or what are you hearing?
Yeah, interesting pick too. I think they've got 2 young building blocks in Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain, but both guards. And Joel Embiid, is an aging star who's had his injury problems this year included. Paul George, same thing. I mean, now Paul's a bad contract guy. Sadly, he's an aging star. He's set to make a ton of money. Do they package this pick, try and dump some of that money? Do they just look for something long-term? Do they want to bring in a vet to try and win now? I don't know. Similar to what I was saying about San Antonio, I'm not quite sure what's going on internally in Philly, and it's a hard one to project. If they do stay at 3, I'm probably going to keep them taking Ace Bailey, which is a long-term upside player, 6'9", dynamic shooter, scorer. But that pick could be on the move too. I mean, I'm prepared for there to be some movement in the lottery.
Who is the pick right now, or the prospect right now? I love how you say the draft process is more of a puzzle than a ladder, and I love that. And part of this is surprises, right? Like a piece we didn't imagine fitting over here. Who is rising up draft boards right now that nobody's really talking about? Guys who you know about and the regular dude like me doesn't.
I don't think there's any real hidden gems. A couple guys who we probably would talk about anyway would be Kaman Malawach from Duke. It feels like his stock is rising, even though it was already high. I mean, I've heard his name even whispered as an option at number 3 to Philly, which is very much on his high side. I don't know if I'm ready to buy that fully just yet, but that has been thrown out there. We talked about Yegor Demon. Does feel like he is on the rise. And then one name to watch out for is Cedric Coward from Washington State. Really interesting story. He was at a D3, transfer to Washington State. There was rumblings that he was going to transfer to Duke if he had pulled out of the draft. I've heard his name being mentioned with lottery picks, mid-first round. Again, I'm not sure I'm ready to completely buy that. But there's some of the things that are being discussed behind closed doors is a guy that could be on the rise.
All right, way too early to talk about next year's draft, but if there's a prospect you are excited when you hit the road, I love talking to dudes like you because you're out there. Not only do you talk to people, but you're at the games, right? That's where I met you, at a Colorado game. What player are you most excited to see in person next year?
Well, we talked about AJ a little bit at BYU. I mean, he's an elite talent, incredible physical tools. He's got, if we're talking baseball, he's like a 5-tool player, but with the basketball version of it, right? And again, a young guy that's just scratching the surface of what he'll be, but the potential is sky high. I mean, one of the best prospects I've seen just from an upside standpoint at this stage, my entire time doing this. Another guy who's not far behind is Darren Peterson going to Kansas. Just a dynamic scoring guard. Kind of reminds me of a Dwayne Wade type guy. Just very, very dynamic scorer, slasher. These 2 guys are cream of the crop type prospects.
All right, well, you're cream of the crop. Matt Babcock, thank you so much, dude. Babcock Hoops. I'd love to have you on after the draft to kind of reassess, but, man, I appreciate your time today.
No, thanks, Pete. This is great. Anytime.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Sports.
We